Hi, dears. Starting with chapter number 4, which is one of the very important chapter. A lot of standards are there. Which chapter is it? It is audit evidence. When you hear about audit evidence, which series will come to mind? That's right, which is essay 500 series, right? Okay. So starting with chapter number 4, which is nothing but your audit evidence, to see the weightage, chapter number 4 and 6 together. 6 is just essay 230, which is audit documentation. These two chapters, okay, together 12 to 18% mark. Yeah, 12 to 18 percentage. That's huge. So as we said, since it is audit evidence, majority of the essays, 7 essays are with respect to 500 series, and along with that 610 is there. 610 is one of the important essay using the work of internal auditor. So let's start with it. Yes, very, very, very important. So let's bash. Okay. Okay. Now it's a summary. Be with me. So starting with essay 500. 500. 500 is dealing with audit evidence. Audit evidence will include both accounting records as well as it will include other information. At times, audit evidence will constitute absence of audit evidence also. I repeat, absence of audit evidence is also constitute audit evidence like refusal by management. Now, audit evidence should be sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Now, audit evidence should be cumulative in nature. Then, audit evidence are rather persuasive and not conclusive. We have 7 techniques of obtaining audit evidence: inquiry, inspection, observation, external confirmation, recalculation, reperformance, and analytical procedure. Then we have audit procedures or methods. Yeah. Methods are mainly risk assessment procedure, further audit procedure. Now, further audit procedure is divided into, we have already said this, further audit procedure is divided into test of controls or compliance test. It's otherwise called as compliance test. Then it is substantive audit procedure. Substantive procedure is divided into test of detail and substantive analytical procedures. Now, test of details is divided into test of transactions and test of balances. See, this risk assessment procedure is 315. Further audit procedure is essay. Come on, come on, come on. 330, chapter number 3. Then here we will be using the work of which expert? Management expert. If it is auditor's expert, essay 620 will apply. Whenever there is an inconsistencies between evidences obtained, we have to perform additional further procedures. Rules on reliability, more reliable evidence from where you will get. Like independent sources is more reliable, documentary form obtained directly by the auditor in original documents. However, if internal control is strong, effective, internal evidence is more reliable. And this essay also talks about assertions. Assertion with respect to A, B, C, D. AB means account balance, balance sheet. C is class of transaction, P&L, and D is disclosure notes to account. So this essay 500 is about audit evidence general. So that's it about essay 500. Now let's bash to essay 501. Now what is essay 501? 501 is also audit evidence. Now how it is different from 500? 501 is specific considerations for selected item. What is that selected item? Here, selected items means we have 3 items, which is nothing but inventory, litigation and claim, segment reporting or segment information. So very easily you can identify whether it is 501 for the exam. How? When you hear these three items, you can think of 501. Now in inventory, are you going to take every evidence? No, because it is specific consideration. Now in inventory, you are going to check its existence and condition. In litigation, we are going to check the completeness, whether anything is omitted. And in segment reporting, we are going to check regarding the what presentation and disclosure as per AFRF. Right? Presentation and disclosure as per AFRF. So here, as the name itself suggests, audit evidence you are going to obtain regarding what these three selected items, inventory, litigation and claim segment reporting. In these three selected items, specific consideration. What is the specific consideration? Existence and condition, completeness, presentation and disclosure as per AFRF. So that's 501 audit evidence, specific considerations for three selected items. Come on, guys, moving forward to essay 505. What is 505? We have heard 505 and 500. It is one of the technique of obtaining evidence. External confirmation, easy. Standard is also very easy. Come on, 505. It's the direct written response. Mark that word, direct written response by confirming party, third party to the auditor. It can be in paper form, electronic form, or any other media. It can be positive or it can be negative. Two types of confirmation, positive or negative. Auditor shall maintain control over drafting and obtaining confirmation. 4 steps are there. Identify the information to be confirmed, select the confirming party, draft, send and follow up. Now at times, management may refuse. Auditor, don't obtain confirmation. In such case, auditor has to, management did not allow us. What auditor has to say? Auditor has to inquire what is the, whether there is any valid and reasonable cause. Then you have to see its implications, right? And then you will perform the alternative procedure. If it is unreasonable, without any reason they are refusing, then TCWG you will communicate, SA 260, TCWG. Reevaluate management integrity and you will analyze its impact. So that's 505. Now going to 510. What is 510? 510 is initial audit engagement, opening balance. Now 510 you think in the examination hall mainly when it's a hint is there where you are not the auditor of prior period, like it's a newly appointed auditor. Even in RPP, there was a question, you are a newly appointed auditor, then only think of 510. Why? Because initial audit engagement means either prior period is unaudited or audited by predecessor auditor, not us. So here you have to obtain evidence whether opening balance contains any material misstatement, and you have to check whether accounting policies are consistently applied. If not consistent, we may need to modify the report. So if there is any material misstatement, policy is inconsistent, then 705, modify you have to give. Modify, qualified adverse or disclaimer. How disclaimer? If unavailability of evidence. So for doing this, you may need to obtain a copy from the client. Then you have to read it. You have to check whether there is any modification. If so, it is resolved. Now, if last year is unaudited, you have to specifically check by performing additional further audit procedure by examining prior period. So 510 is referred even in 710 essay, comparative information. So that's 510, initial audit engagement, opening balance, which is nothing but closing balance of prior period. Now moving to essay 520. What is 520? 520 is nothing but analytical procedure. But an analytical procedure in one word, it's called as the comparison. Comparison. Compare with prior period, compare with non-financial with financial, compare with auditor's expectation, comparison with management expectation, and comparison with industry. Not only comparison, consideration of relationship, not only that, other procedures like budgets, all these are analytical. Now, for doing analytical, we have 4 methods or techniques: ratio, trend, reasonableness check, reasonableness test, and one more, structural modeling. Now, for doing analytical procedure, you have to see whether that analytical procedure is suitable for your audit. If suitable, whether the data is reliable, reliability of data. If reliable, develop the expectation. Once you develop the expectation, prediction, then you will measure the difference. If it is unacceptable, you will inquire and do procedure. So 520 analytical procedure is a part of substantive audit procedures where you obtain what evidence, relevant and reliable evidence to form a conclusion. It's not sufficient, it's relevant and reliable. Even 505 provides you with relevant and reliable evidence. Internal evidence is more sufficient. External is relevant and reliable. Like that, in substantive, test of details is more sufficient, analytical is more relevant and reliable. Right? Okay. Now moving forward to essay 530. What is 530 all about? From the large volume of transaction, from the what? Population, you will select the sample. So each item is called as the sampling unit. And there are a lot of terms here. The maximum monetary error which auditor can accept is called as tolerable error. Now, the misstatement which does not affect the entire population is called as anomalous misstatement. The misstatement which will affect the population is called as common. When you project, you get the projected misstatement. There is a saying, projected misstatement plus anomalous misstatement shall not exceed tolerable error. If it exceeds, sample is unreasonable. So there is a flow or the process. First, you should design the sample, then you will decide the size, then you will select it, then you will, after selecting, then you will, what you will do, you perform your procedure on it. From procedure, you will find out the deviations and misstatements. From that was in sample, project to population and evaluate the. Now, for selecting sample, you have two approaches, no? Statistical and non-statistical. In that, 5 methods is there. I'll just say that. Random, simple and stratified, systematic, monetary, block. One thing I forgot. Which one is that? Haphazard. So that was regarding 530 audit sampling. Sample should represent the population. Now regarding 550, related party. Now related party mainly, wait 1 minute. Yeah, related party. Related party means persons prescribed as per AFRF. If AFRF is prescribing minimum or nil requirements, in such case, any entity having significant influence and control over our entity, meaning reporting entity, or any entity over which our reporting entity is having significant control or influence, any entity under common control. There is an exemption for this, which is entities under the control of government are not related party unless there is a significant transaction. Okay. Now, what is the issue with related party? As per AS 18, also we will study, whenever related party, it should be properly disclosed. AS 18 has to be complied by management. As an auditor, we have to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence whether these related parties are properly disclosed, not detrimental. What mental detrimental means? Not adverse. Whether it is reasonable, whether there exists a fraud risk factor, SA 240, even though it's not in syllabus, you have to learn the number. Then whether financial shows true and fair view and not misleading. For that, auditor has to check the various documents. He has to inquire the management. Then he has to check the investment methods of financing, obtain written representation. So that's regarding SA 550, which is regarding related party. So when you hear related party, AS 18 should come to your mind as well as CARO. So for detailed video on CARO, you can refer my YouTube. There's a separate video. Now going to the last essay in this chapter, with that done, which is essay 610. What is essay 610 all about? Using the work of internal auditor. External auditor is using the work of internal auditor. Why are you using the work of internal auditor? Internal auditor can be appointed under 138 under Companies Act by the management, by the company. As per CARO clause number 14, we may need to report who statutory auditor. And as per SA 610, we will be using the work of whom? Internal auditor. Why? Either to obtain evidence regarding risk as a partial substitution or to seek the direct assistance. So, I used his work. Can we escape from the responsibility? No. You will be held solely responsible, meaning fully responsible. And you have to prove that you have exercised due care and diligence. So there are certain cases where you can't use the work of internal auditors, like areas involving high judgment, high risk. So I repeat, areas that involve significant judgment. No. Areas that involve high risk. No. Internal auditor lacks competence. No. If prohibited by laws and regulations. No. If there is a threat. No. So basically, whenever you are using the work of internal auditor, you have to see three things. Whether to use, to what extent to use, okay, then you have to use. When you seek the assistance, you have to keep the internal auditor under your DSR. DSR, direction, supervision, and review. So that's essay 610 for you, which is using the work of internal auditor. So 500 audit evidence, 501 specific consideration for selected item, 505 external confirmation, 510 initial audit engagement opening balance, 520 analytical procedure, 530 audit sampling, 550 related party, and 610 using the work of internal. So with that, we have completed audit evidence. Chapter number 4. Guys, chapter number 4 is very, very, very important. Do it properly. All the best.